So,
I'll just go off the camera.
oh, are you
Okay.
sure?
Yes.
How come?
Actually, I'm at a fence and this is uncomfortable. So, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. You can turn your camera off if you like. It's no big deal.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. It's actually a good practice, though, to keep it on and be uncomfortable, because then you're going to be in situations in life where it's not always going to be comfortable. That's why a lot of Theravadan Buddhists would sit at the mouths of caves in Thailand, and they would be meditating by active tiger caves, and some of them got eaten. And they also have a practice of spending time in graveyards and going to uh, spending the night in graveyards, because in Thailand, from what I hear, their culture, they believe in ghosts, like very much so. It's part of their culture. So to stay in a graveyard is extremely scary for them. So when you do it, you get to observe your body, and you get to observe the fear, anxiety, worry. So in a way, they induce it so that
Oh,
they can learn um, to help guide it in their body and not let it control them. That's why U.G. Krishnamurti used to say, if the practice doesn't work in traffic, then it's not worth it, because anybody can be peaceful in a nice calm forest with wind blowing, but it can be more difficult to be peaceful in traffic, or if you have somebody who's not agreeable that you're forced to be in close to in some way. So so it could be a good practice to do things that make us feel uncomfortable, as long as they're not hurting ourselves or other people. So yeah, this is.
definitely. Thank you for this.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, so it's okay if this if this video is more like a conversation of questions or thoughts or whatever you guys want to talk about, because I don't want to just lecture you guys. Oh, Jeremiah, I can't hear you, man. I don't know if you're talking or not.
Oh, I said I need a good lecturing.
Yeah, don't we all? Yeah. If I ever do lecture, I'm really just lecturing myself anyway, because I need to remind myself of these things, because
That's
it's
how I take it.
yeah, yeah,
I
it's
mean, that's how I practice to learn this, that I'm just talking to myself whenever I respond.
yeah, absolutely. It's very subtle, It's like
Yes.
it's very with the way our society is, it can be very easy to get swept away in the most mundane things. Um, because a lot of people, they look at the practice of uh oh, hold on one second. Sorry, guys. Hold on. No momento. Yeah. Hold on. Okay, hold on, guys. Can't see anything. Sorry, hold on one second. I got some food coming my way. Hi, dudes. Thank you. Love you. Okay. Sorry about that, dudes.
All good, dude.
So, let's see what was I saying here. So here I am. Oh, okay. So it can be very subtle, negative attachments. Very, very subtle indeed. Um, it can be things as simple as things that may even appear wholesome, like let's say, like, I'm an artist, I like to do art, and then some days I'll sit around and I'll say, I have to create something, I have to create something, and it always seems to come from a place of either wanting money or wanting attention. And when I observe myself, I say, man, you spend an awful lot of time thinking how to get money or attention. And I don't want to be like that. I don't want to always be thirsty for those things. It doesn't interest me. It has no value to me. Sure, money, art are wonderful, but they're just tools. And if I'm not careful, if I'm not observing myself, in a very subtle way, these things, even though they seem good, can creep up on you slowly. The perfect word would be insidiously, slow moving and widespread eventually, like a cancer or a virus. And oftentimes I'll catch myself and say, can I just be content sitting here? Can I just be content with the chair I have, with the air I'm breathing now, with the way things are now, with the food I'm eating now, with the friends I'm with now, with whatever I'm doing in the moment? Can't that just be enough? And that's a really good question to ask ourselves. Can this moment just be enough? Isn't it good enough? It may not be perfect. We may have all these things going on. We may have pains, we may have financial problems, we may have this, we may have that. But it's a very important question to ask. Can this moment be enough? And when you start asking that
Wow,
question,
beautiful.
what's that?
That's beautiful to think of.
Oh, yeah, it is beautiful. And that's why the Buddha called it the noble Dhamma. That's why
True.
he thought it was the only thing worth talking about. He instructed his
Yes,
monks
yes.
even, don't even
So,
have idle chatter.
you know about Ramana Maharshi?
Oh, Ramana Maharshi?
Have you? Yes.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
last month I have been to his ashram. That's in
Oh,
Tamil Nadu.
I
Yes.
had a retreat in
Oh,
Illinois with the leader of that ashram. I forget his name, but we
oh,
actually ended up sleeping in the same bedroom, him and me and a couple other
oh,
guys who were in
nice.
from India. Yeah.
Okay. So I stayed there for a month and it was a magical experience to have.
Wow.
And after going there, I realized that, there is a mind within us which keeps talking always, even if we, like, even if we are trying to live spirituality, our head keeps talking and there needs to be silence. That's what we are trying to achieve. So, Ramana Maharshi,
Mhm.
he says that, don't say anything, like, just shut up.
Yeah.
Okay, just stop talking. And once you stop talking within, it's all done. You're just
Yeah.
anchored, just like, be in the center, that thing. So mind keeps wandering around. And he says that, just be in center. There's nothing, there's everything and there's nothing.
Yeah.
So that wisdom, that place holds very beautiful place. You guys must
Yeah.
come here someday.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yes, yes.
They say that a lot in Zen too. There's a
Mm-hmm.
famous Zen saying of sit down and shut up.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
and for
We
beginners,
can explain God or creator through anything, any word you say, any good word or bad word, it
mm,
doesn't matter because it's there. Okay, you can keep
yeah,
talking about it, but it doesn't take you anywhere. You have to stop and see. And when you'll stop and see, you'll be in present. There's no other way
yes.
around, neither past nor future, just present.
And ironically, the old Buddhist saying of emptiness is form and form is emptiness kind of goes along with silence as well. Because even
Exactly.
amongst conversation, even amongst talking?
Mm-hmm.
Can we
That
find
is
the
also the
silence
same thing.
within it? Yes.
Exactly for us also. So that's what I also realized that, just shutting up your mouth is the best thing to do.
Hmm.
Shutting up and doing the things rather than keep thinking about it. So just think and act. That's what Krishnamurti said. Think, act. Keep, just like, don't keep thinking.
Yeah.
You have to act also.
But also, remember these things are just guidelines too, because although they may have a pointer toward truth, some people can
True.
hear that and they will produce dissatisfaction. They'll produce dukkha if they have ignorance, misunderstanding these things, and they'll say, "Well, I can't talk. I have to be more silent. I'm not silent enough.
Exactly.
I
So
have to
one
get
has to
somewhere where
be
I'm not."
exactly. That is also talking term. Just thinking about talking about not thinking at all, not having a single thought,
Hmm.
and you can just contemplate on thought, and then only you'll come to lesser thoughts. You have to contemplate your every thought.
Yeah, that's funny. I hear that a lot too. Like, they'll say things like "stop thinking" and stuff like that. But really,
Exactly.
really, it is impossible to stop thinking. But
True.
I think a lot of the Eastern people who say that, what they're actually meaning, because it's probably rough translation, is that um, there's nothing you can do about thoughts, but you don't have to get attached to every thought. You don't have to follow every thought.
True. True. True.
Stopping thinking is impossible. I mean,
Yes. So you
even
have
on the
to
baseline of walking requires some thought.
right.
Um, but I know what they're meaning. But that's
Mhm.
that's the thing also with spirituality. People will take one phrase and often run with it because there's that craving to find the key. There's that craving to find the
True.
golden
True. True.
sentence that will set us free. That's why I always really admired the Dhamma, because you didn't have to become a perfect saint through striving, and you didn't have to become an enlightened master through striving and sacrifice and this and that. In Zen, they're saying, in Theravada even too, they're saying, you're already enlightened. You're already a Buddha.
True. True.
There's nothing to
That's what
do.
I guess. There is no perfection also. We all are
Mm.
just unique. There's no
Yeah.
perfection.
The perfection is our imperfection in a way, you know?
True. True.
Because the world is not just black and white.
True.
And through those
Or it's just
contrasts,
black and white.
what's that, love?
I'm saying or it's just black and white.
Or
Either
it's
it's not or it is.
yeah,
There's just two possibilities.
and it doesn't matter either because it's just all concepts, conceptual notions.
True. True.
Sorry, I'm eating my omelet before bugs get in.
Jeremiah, what do you do?
I'm currently training to become a breathwork facilitator.
Oh, nice. Where are you? Where are you based?
I'm in San Diego, California.
Oh, nice.
California, that's
Nice
awesome.
seeing you guys.
That's beautiful. It's like in the 80s or 90s today.
Wow,
Nice.
that's dope,
I
dude.
wanted to be California because of the psychology study over there. But then I went to London. So
London's
California
pretty
is
cool.
famous for all these supernatural studies and psychology. California is the place. All the universities.
Psychology's awesome.
Yes, I'm a psychologist.
You are cool.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I think of the Buddha too. It's like a psychologist or scientist.
Yes.
And because when he says something, you don't have to have faith in it or believe in it. If we
True.
practice the Noble Eightfold Path of, oh hi,
Hi,
Hey,
how's
sorry.
Marina.
it
Am I
going?
too late?
Oh
I'm
no, you're
sorry.
fine.
I You
Hey, I'm
already
so happy to
started.
see
I
you.
didn't
Your
catch
songs
you
are
actually.
wonderful.
Hi.
Oh, yeah, her songs are
Hello.
great.
Yes, I
So
love her
we,
Hi.
songs.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I
So
am so
sweet.
happy with every reel you put of your song.
Oh, thank you.
Lots
That
of
makes me
love.
so happy. Thank you.
yeah, she's a rock star.
Yeah,
She is.
That's
really.
awesome. That's a cool life.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and yeah, beautiful music, man. Good stuff. Every time I swipe your stories, I'll hear some tidbits here and there, and I'm like, wow, that's cool, man. It's nice to see like, how old are you?
37.
37. Huh, a little younger than me. I'm 39. I
Oh,
was gonna
really? Almost the same.
almost, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so we got Swati, Jeremiah, and Marina. Marina Eckhart Tolle. Have you heard of that author?
Yeah.
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 It
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
is wonderful.
That's me. Yeah.
Um, so you guys, have you guys been doing okay? You guys have any questions about anything or anything at all?
Well, were you guys already talking about something, or did I interrupt you, or
No, no,
did
you
I
didn't
interrupt you
interrupt
right
us
at
at all.
some
We're
point?
just no, we're just chilling.
We all are happy to see you.
Yeah. It's always a good thing when more people come, so it's good. It's
Yeah.
awesome. That's the
Yeah.
point of it.
Good.
To, to share friendship and help each other be satisfied the best we can. That's all. That's
Yeah.
all the monkhood was when the Buddha started. It was just a bunch of dudes trying to help each other be satisfied. But and they were outcasts. They were like considered weird even amongst spiritual people. Quote spiritual people, probably more Hindu Brahmin back in the day, 3,000 years ago, because they made fun of the Buddha when he started eating food happily. You know, they said, "You're not a real yogi. You're just eating food. What's wrong with you? Why aren't your ribs showing anymore?" And he's like, "Well, I found that I didn't need to do that in order to be happy. I was just kind of uh, emaciating my body and causing a whole bunch of needless dukkha, needless suffering or dissatisfaction." And they couldn't understand it. They're like, "Huh, well, whatever. See ya." And they kind of abandoned him.
Really?
Hmm. Because he was doing the middle way, which is the balance. He found
Mm.
because he was the best yogi there ever was. There's even those statues that show his veins. They said he got so skinny at one point from not eating that you can see his ribs through the back of his body. He was so skinny, so frail. They said that his
At the beginning,
veins. What's that, love?
or at the beginning, he was that
At
thin,
the
or
beginning.
and later he started
Yeah,
to eat
he was
again. Or,
he was born a prince in Nepal, I believe, and modern day Nepal, and he wasn't satisfied with that, even though he had everything you could possibly want: women, stature, power. And then he saw aging, sickness, and death. Basically, anicca, dukkha, anatta, which just means it's the Pali language for impermanence, dissatisfaction, and emptiness, or no permanent self. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. You'll probably hear me reference that a lot because it's a big aspect of the Buddhist teaching was that everything is anicca, dukkha, anatta, imperfect. I'm sorry, impermanent, uh, dissatisfactory by nature, and inherently empty of a self or soul. So nothing, therefore, is worth clinging to or getting upset over. In a way, it's like we're these AI machines, and there's nothing in there really, which could seem some
Nothing.
kind of terrifying for other people, but it's not really metaphysical. Like the Buddha didn't really claim to know what happens after we die and stuff like that, but he was saying, based on his observation and what he gathered from just reality, he couldn't pinpoint some permanent self. Nothing he viewed in this reality, in this moment, seemed to last. The only consistent thing with this reality he discovered was that it's constantly changing. And if I cling to it, I'm constantly dissatisfied. And what makes me the most dissatisfied is what I cling to the most is this ego, is this story of myself. We drag the story of ourselves along the banks of the river like holding a sack of rocks, just pulling it along. And that's our ego, that's the story. So the Buddha thought, oh, I don't have to drag this bag of rocks, this heavy ass fucking bag of rocks. I could let it go. And it's amazing how you can feel when you don't have to be the star of the movie, the star of the play, the star of this, the center of attention of this. It's amazing when it's like, oh, I can give up all that. And you learn it kind of naturally as you get older. You start having less friends. People are less impressed with you. And I can only imagine it gets even more so. But that's why, especially with the upbringing of our society, people are the most, quote, successful people are usually the most fucked up in the head. Because it takes a great deal of energy to achieve what this society says is success. First of all, it's a numbers game. No matter how good you are, no matter how smart, you're not always going to achieve it. It's just a numbers game. There's 365 something million people in America alone. They can't all be rock stars. They can't all be famous. They can't all be rich. They can't all be smart. They can all be handsome. They can all be this. So you're kind of fucked from the word go. But like I was telling them earlier, like it's very subtle. We have to ask ourselves, can we be satisfied with the way things are now? And the Four Noble Truths is dukkha, dukkha, nirodha. Suffering, our attachment to desire causes suffering. Our wrong perception causes suffering, but there's a way out called the Eightfold Noble Path. And the Eightfold Noble Path is not so much a path, but it's something that exists here like a doorway right now with our breath, like the doorway to our breath. And why do we concentrate on the breath in Buddhism? Because a lot of people, when they look at spirituality, they're always looking at it from the perspective of like, it's a puzzle to solve, right? Whenever you talk or with anybody with spirituality, it's always another Western puzzle to solve. And the best person who can explain the puzzle is the leader, right? But that's not what the Buddha said. It's not a puzzle. It's not a mystery. It's a very practical practice that anybody can do, a child can do. And we're all Buddhas already. We're all enlightened masters already. We just don't see it because we're still running after trying to get it right, trying to understand it, trying to fit it into some box instead of just letting go and breathing and saying, it's all about don't worry, be happy. It's not about getting it right. It's about getting it happily, as my teacher says. It's not a puzzle box to be solved. It's not a Rubik's Cube. It's just gladdening the mind here and now. That's why in the Buddha's time they called it Nibbana, which means it's the Pali word they used for food. To nibbana food was to take it off of the fire and let it cool down. So you hear the word nirvana, but in the Pali language they originally called it nibbana. So that's enlightenment. It's not a magical mystery thing. It's a very practical thing you can do when you chill the fuck out and relax and let go of all these expectations of reality. Reality should be like this. All the Four Noble Truths, the only thing you need to concentrate on in Buddhism is the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. What is the Four Noble Truths? Four Noble Truths is if you have negative attachment to desire, You suffer. You have dissatisfaction, wanting things we don't have, wanting things to be a certain way that they're not. And the Noble Eightfold Path is essentially basically just remember, look, and change. Remember to look at yourself once in a while. Is there dissatisfaction? And then you say, oh, there is dissatisfaction. And you change it with your wholesome, nurturing speech, thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions. So essentially, you stop complaining. You stop getting in the bad habits, the sankharas they call them, of complaining. Because it only builds momentum. And that's true karma is our bad habits. Karma is not some mystery thing that the universe is punishing you for this, punishing you for that. No, it's bad habits. We punish ourselves.
Yeah.
And we can save
Yeah.
ourselves. Ain't no God gonna save us. Ain't no parents gonna save us. The only thing we can do is change our mind. We have the power to change our mind. You
Yeah.
know, we all have
Yeah.
things
I
going.
discovered.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I just discovered the last days, like the last weeks, actually, like you are your own, because you said like you're your own punisher in a way. And I
Hmm.
really felt like that, like the last few weeks, I really to work on myself and discover like, why am I so hard on myself with many things? I discovered like, why am I like not kind and, help like being kind to myself in a way, that's not helpful, you know,
Hmm.
just because you said that. Yeah. So, and now I feel much that I actually recognized that it came to my mind. Hey, you are not nice to yourself in a way, every day. Yeah. You're like, you can do
Yeah,
more, you can do better, you're not good enough, stuff like that, that makes you really sick in a way. you
yeah.
know?
We can get really caught up in bad habits of treating ourselves like shit.
Yeah, the great medicine Buddha called it a self-perishing thought, and that is the ultimate source of our self-perishing thoughts. Me, why can't I have? Why, why do I have to go through this? And why can't I be successful? Why do I have to deal with this person that's being difficult? Why do I? And instead, we need to kind of see others as our of everything, our source of happiness, of success, and joy, and freedom from suffering. So when we form our suffering and say, uh, kind of like what Jesus did, this is how I interpret it. What Jesus did on the cross was, I take on all of the suffering and sins of man right here and now, in the moment, so that no one else has to suffer. And by doing that, he was being a source of encouragement, inspiration, um, and so much so that it rewritten, written and repeated phrase, so amazing that he said that while in the midst of being tortured and sacrificed, I'm dying for the sin. And so when we transform our thoughts to being a life giving jewel of joy, of happiness to others, we
Jeremiah, your microphone was breaking up a little bit.
care about that.
Is it plugged in accurately? Or we could hear you. It was just a little tiny bit choppy. And then when I'm talking, I think I could hear myself on your computer a little bit. Do you have to? Hello?
Is that better? Hello?
Yeah, there's still a
Yeah.
little something in the background. Do you hear it, Marina?
Yeah, bits. I mean, it's okay. It's not bad for me. But I
Yeah,
couldn't hear him that good.
yeah, it's not horrible, but it makes it a little difficult to hear you. Or is that you, Marina? Do you need your headphones in?
No, maybe it's me because I just got my headphones because I'm not
Oh,
using
okay.
them today. Maybe it's
Better?
me. Sorry.
Um, I think it might be actually Marina.
Okay. I had my
Let's see, is it plugged in? There we go.
Yeah. Is it better now?
Yeah,
yeah.
So
yeah,
it was.
that's much better. Yeah, it was Marina. She was the
Oh, okay. I'm
culprit.
sorry.
50 lashings. No, I'm joking. Dude, every time I do a anything online, there's always some technical thing that's either from me or somebody else. But see, that's just the way things are. It's okay. No problem.
Yeah, I was just thinking, oh, today it works without headphones. Yeah, it doesn't.
Poor Jeremiah.
Surprise. Yeah.
But what were you saying about Jesus, Jeremiah?
I was saying that my interpretation is that Jesus was practicing the teachings of the medicine Buddha when he was being sacrificed, because the torturing and suffering that he was enduring was bringing him great suffering, and probably thoughts of, why me, why are these people doing this to me? And instead he flipped it and said, I'm suffering right here and right now, so that everybody suffering right now doesn't have to.
Wow.
And saying
Mm.
what he's saying by I'm sacrificing myself for the sins of all of humanity.
Yeah, that's like the Noble Eightfold Path. It's like he could have sat there and said, "Why me?" And I think he even did curse God a little bit at the beginning, but then he kind of chilled out and was like, "It's all good." But yeah,
Because they
that's
forgive know what they're doing.
right, right. Yeah, forgive them for they know not what they're doing. So basically, he could have just sat there and just blasphemed all of them, right? He could have condemned them, could have cursed them all, but he
Exactly.
didn't. He turned a really horrible, awful situation into something that was so beautiful. Scholars have been trying to interpret it and write it down ever since. And that
Mm.
goes along with almost everything that Jesus said in the red letters in the New Testament. Everything he said, I'm always fascinated about the Sermon on the Mount because that was Leo Tolstoy, the great writer, the famous writers. That was his. Um, Leo Tolstoy was an atheist most of his life. Very famous books. Think Anna Karenina, War and Peace, crazy, like just world famous books. But as he got older, about 70 or so, he just started becoming a Christian, but not like the typical Christians of his time. He actually kind of condemned the churches at the time he existed, which was, I don't know, 19th century maybe sometime, or early
Mm.
20th century. But anyways, he um he made his own version of Christianity that he got from the Bible and because he was a genius, he was like dissecting the Bible, looking at old translations that were more correct translations from ancient Greek and Aramaic and stuff like that. And he found that his favorite passage in the Bible was the Sermon on the Mount because it was the one place in the Bible where if Jesus had something to say, that would be the time and place to say it because he was giving a speech to a crowd from all different walks of life. They came from all different cultures and backgrounds, and they traveled from all these lands. And it was the only time in the Bible where you hear Jesus talking to thousands of people at the same time. And he didn't say, read the Bible. Jesus didn't even tell us that there was
Mm.
a Bible. He didn't tell us about a church. He didn't even know what that was. Um, he did say, however, treat your enemies as you would treat yourself. Love your neighbors, love your enemies. He said the kingdom of heaven is not a physical place, it's within us. Hence the
Mm.
spiritual nature of his teachings. They're not physical. They're within us. And it's like a yin yang
Mm.
mixture of both. Emptiness is form is emptiness type of thing. But
Mm.
and he was basically saying chill the fuck out and just like be kind to each other, be kind to yourself. And Nobody wants to hear that. So the Christians took his message and they made golden thrones, of which he warned them and even told them not to do, dressed in crazy fancy robes, and God knows what other atrocities they cause with children and all that disgusting shit. But and this doesn't mean all Christians are bad, but what I'm basically getting at is that, yeah, Jesus was dope. Jesus was like definitely a Buddha for sure, and a very wise teacher. If you have the ears to listen to what he was saying, you know. But yeah, he did take those last moments of life, and he turned them around to something very positive.